The other day I was looking through an old notebook of drawings I had done in junior high school, and I guess I had forgotten how obsessed I used to be with death. When you're a kid, you don't really understand the concept of death, which is logical because you don't really understand the concept of life either. Even though a lot of people may try to tell you about how precious life is, it's pretty difficult for it to sink in then, as almost everyone that tells you this doesn't appear to be having a particularly good time anymore. There are many, many theories about what death is really like. I've heard a lot of them, but for some reason the only ones I believe are the ones told by junkie rock stars that OD'd, were dead for a few minutes, and then revived. Usually they say that they saw a light, had a trippy out-of-body experience, and then nothingness. Although cemeteries are generally regarded as kind of a depressing place to hang out, I always thought that they gave me some sense of perspective. When you start thinking that for the time that they were alive, every one of these people was at the center of their own universe. They all had various wants, hopes, and ambitions, and maybe even believed that they had all the time in the world. Now, if you yourself happen to spend the morning thinking about this certain pair of pants that you wanted to get, therein lies the perspective. I always used to get paranoid that when lying on my deathbed, that I would be haunted by the saying, if you don't make the most of your life, you've got no one to blame but yourself. When the time comes, though, I plan to comfort myself with the quote, we are here on earth to fart around, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. While we're on the topic of quotes, I don't know which expression I like better. That which does not kill me will only make me stronger, or that which does not kill me didn't finish the job. I don't know if I'm all that afraid of death, but I've made it a point to try not to die stupidly, because if there is an afterlife, it would be kind of a drag to spend eternity feeling like kind of a dumb shit. If you've ever had the experience of really thinking that you might be facing death, you may also be familiar with attempting to make deals with whichever supernatural powers you may believe in, and vowing to be a better human being if you happen to get out of it. I hope you also know the ecstatic feeling of being let off the hook and that the looming threat of immediate death has been averted, but then you also may understand how the vow to be a better person can kind of wear off after a little while. I don't know if this sounds dumb or not, but if I was dying, I doubt I would be concerned that I didn't earn enough money, status, or power, but I do think I'd be annoyed that I didn't spend enough time lying down in the park looking at trees. If you consider the fear of death to be something of a motivational factor, it's interesting to think about how a couple of generations ago, the threat of nuclear annihilation was so strong and immediate, it makes me wonder how much this may have liberated people to do what they wanted to do while they were alive. Today, the fear of annihilation doesn't seem to be as strong as the fear of social, economic, and societal disintegration. I don't have any conclusions to this, but I do think it's interesting. I never really understood the allure of having children until last year, when I saw this old man playing with his granddaughter. It sort of hit me that when you're really old and your friends are dying, and you know that your time is almost up yourself, it's probably a pretty good idea to mix some life in there as well. A couple of years ago, I was visiting a grave of a guy I knew, and it occurred to me that I had no idea of what was the proper way to honor the dead. While I was standing there, two kids and their dog came tearing through the cemetery and started brushing the snow off of some of the headstones, saying, "Who's this guy? I don't know. I wonder what he was like." And then they ran off, having themselves a grand old time. I stood there for a minute, and I thought to myself, you know something, I think those two are doing a better job of it than I am.